haunted by a sinister patient. The spine-chilling case of perfect memory and unexplained horrors. Amelia's heart raced as the shadows in the dimly lit hospital corridor seemed to shift. The whisper she thought she heard last night clawed at her sanity. The weight of exhaustion pressed down on her shoulders like a thief in the night. She had to get home to Charlie. Would he be waiting up? Did he hear the whispers too? It was just past 3 in the morning. She had finished her late nursing shift at the local Kansas hospital, but the night was far from over. The new patient that arrived moments before her shift ended, Mr. Thompson, was unsettling. He had a perfect memory, recounting details from long-forgotten days, details that made her skin crawl. Every word dripped with a horrifying nostalgia. "I remember the little boy. He used to smile like you do," he said, his eyes sparkling with a past that felt too close to Amelia's reality. She shook off the chill that clawed at her spine and moved on, trying not to think about the dark undertones of his words. But once Amelia got home, the house felt suffocatingly quiet, eerily still. Charles lay sleeping in his bed, yet the strange echoes of Mr. Thompson's voice lingered. Days turned into nights where Amelia would lie awake, her mind racing, echoes of faint laughter that sounded nothing like her son calling from the shadows. Was it just exhaustion playing tricks on her? Some nights it felt as if the walls were alive, whispering her son's name in soothing yet sinister tones. She tried to shake off the anxiety. "He's just being a boy, just in the park with friends," she'd tell herself. But then came Charlie's words. "Mom, Mr. Thompson told me about a hidden place where kids play forever." Every time he mentioned Thompson, Amelia's gut twisted in knots. She knew she had to learn more about him. Yet, whenever she brought it up, neighbors smiled, laughed off her worries, as if her fears were some absurd childhood story. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when Amelia thought she had imagined the whispers, the most terrifying moment arrived. One evening, after tucking Charlie into bed, she noticed his absence. His laughter had faded into silence. Panic tightened around her heart. "Charlie," she called, rushing through the house. Her voice echoed eerily. It was like calling into an endless void. He was gone. The outside world was even scarier. With each frantic step, the familiarity of their suburban neighborhood twisted into something unrecognizable. The laughing children, who once grazed the grass, seemed replaced by lurking shadows, more menacing with every corner turned. The kind smiles of familiar faces morphed into malevolent expressions. "He is just being a boy," they'd say, but the darkness was thick, almost alive, wrapping around her like a suffocating shroud. With an ice-cold breath against her neck, dread clawed at Amelia's insides. She was being watched. When she stumbled to the streets where houses lay dormant, she realized that the laughter echoing in her ears wasn't Charlie's. Chills ran down her spine. What if the shadows were more than just tricks of the mind? In the darkest recesses of her fears, Amelia knew there was something wrong, something that resonated with old tales. She needed to find Charlie before the darkness consumed him entirely. Every shadow melted into another, as Amelia searched frantically for Charlie. The air grew heavy, weighted with an unshakable dread that gnawed at her stomach. Each heartbeat resonated with a rhythm she wished to silence. "Charlie." The call tore through the night again, a desperation clawing at the edges of her sanity. With trembling hands, she reached for her phone, but the screen was unresponsive, the darkness swallowing its light. A sickening thought pierced through her racing mind. What if Thompson had taken her son? The memory of the man's unsettling gaze locked around her thoughts, tightening like a noose. He knows something, she muttered to herself in disbelief, taking a shaky step toward the ominous shadows that lay beyond the fading lights of her home. The neighborhood stretched before her like a labyrinth. Every corner she turned revealing unrecognizable faces, their eyes hollow with secrets. As she hurried along the cracked sidewalk, whispers danced around her hushed tones that slipped into her ears and tightened her throat. "We play forever, we're waiting for him," they sounded familiar. She could almost swear they echoed Charlie's innocent giggle. In her heart, a chilling realization settled in. The whispers were inviting her, teasing her with possibilities she couldn't comprehend. "Charlie, where are you?" Panic turned to resolve. She had to seek out these voices that tugged at her, even if the truth hidden within them terrified her. She followed the whispers, a macabre trail leading her deeper into the heart of their neighborhood. Under the grim glow of the streetlights, the shadows at the edge of her vision seemed to ripple, expanding and contracting like breathing figures. Did they move? Or was it her mind playing cruel tricks? Suddenly, the sound of laughter broke through the whispers of purity in the chaos that brought her to a halt. Could it be Charlie? She sprinted towards the park, her feet pounding against the pavement. The world around her faded into a blur, and the vivid memories of Charlie's laughter echoed in her mind like a siren song. When she reached the park, it was pitch black, save for the pale moonlight hanging mournfully over the swings. The laughter faded and was replaced by a chilling silence that amplified her fear. Trees loomed like skeletal arms, barring her path to the intended joy of childhood. "Charlie." This time, her voice broke, the sound quivering with raw fear. Then, just as she was ready to retreat, a flicker of movement caught her eye. Near the old oak tree, shadowy figures danced under the pale light. Amelia stepped closer, heart pounding like a war drum in the stillness. The figures turned, faces half hidden in the darkness. Children. They stared, unblinking, with eyes that glowed faintly in the night. "Come play." One of them beckoned, their voice eerily sweet. The invitation sent a chill rolling over her skin. A part of her felt entranced, almost compelled by the gleeful innocence. Yet, another part screamed for her to run. "Is Charlie with you?" she pleaded, her voice trembling. They laughed, their giggles weaving through the air like smoke. "He'll come. He wants to play." Confusion twisted in her gut. What game lay before her? Amelia took a hesitant step back, feeling the weight of their gaze, sensing a bond forged in eternal whispers and hidden secrets. She had come to find Charlie. But what if the shadows promised something more horrific? As she gripped the trunk of the looming oak, the laughter swelled, enveloping her. That longing she felt was suffocating. "Charlie!" She screamed one last time, desperation tearing through her. But instead of his name, a more profound silence answered. In the pits of her mind, new fears ignited. They were further than lost children. What if they were never meant to return? The darkness rippled around her, closing in like a veil. She stood at the game's threshold, and as she felt the urge to step forward, an ominous truth crept into her consciousness. What if the hidden place where kids play forever was, in fact, a prison? The shadows shifted, seemingly pulsing with life, as her heart raced. Amelia knew she had to choose: either join them, or fight against the night that was slowly swallowing her whole. A sharp breeze sliced through the park, carrying the whispers deeper into the shadows. Amelia shivered, the thrill of danger prickling her skin. She felt the tension of choice press against her, heavy as the night itself. "Charlie!" she shrieked, and her voice echoed, swallowed entirely by the eerie stillness that returned. The children's eyes, glowing with an unnatural light, bore into her, a sea of unblinking, haunting stares. Amelia's breath quickened, panic surging like a tidal wave. Those children didn't feel right. their laughter the wrong kind of joyful wrapped around her, threatening to drown her in its heaviness. "Come play," they chimed again, a cacophony of joy that was anything but innocent. She forced her feet to stay rooted, but internally, she was reeling. If she played, would she ever find Charlie? Or worse, what if their idea of play was her worst nightmare? Terror sparked in her heart as she craned her neck, scanning the darkened park for any sign of her son. "Charlie!" The name came out in a rough whisper, fingers tightening around the rough bark of the tree. She could feel the pulse of the wood, as if it too was alive and aware of the children's intentions. "Don't be scared," said another, a girl with hair like spun gold, her face twisted in a gleeful grin. "It's fun." The false sweetness in her tone sent shivers coursing down Amelia's spine. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but her yearning for Charlie anchored her. "Fun?" she gasped, heart racing. "Is it fun to disappear?" The children exchanged glances, a flicker of something unreadable passing between them, a pact unbroken, perhaps. "You'll never leave once you start," one boy whispered, stepping closer, shadows swallowing his form. His smile was wide, stretching beyond natural limits. "We all play forever, and he'll be closer than you think." Horror twisted in her gut. The children began to edge toward her, the air thickening with dread. Amelia backed up against the ancient oak, its presence a flicker of safety. The moon hung low, illuminating their faces in a ghostly glow, revealing not just innocence, but a sinister hunger. "Charlie!" she screamed again, voice trembling. Her heart hammered against her rib cage, each beat echoing solitude. "I'm here. I want to leave you." The laughter began again, pealing like bells chiming the end of hope. "He doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay with us." Their voices rang out, soaring across the monument of darkness. An impulse surged within her, almost primal. She took one step back, then another, the air thickening with the charge of electricity. A distant sound, a rustling. Had it come from the back of the oak? She strained her ears, listening for any lost whisper, any echo of her son's laughter. Just then, something brushed against her leg, soft, almost like the warmth of a hand. Stifling a scream, she looked down to see a small, shadowy figure darting away, vanishing into the underbrush toward the heart of the park. "Charlie?" she cried, her voice a threadbare plea. But the children giggled, their faces lighting up with delight, like flames in the dark. "Not that way! Not that way!" The shadows danced excitedly, spinning a web of confusion and fear around her. Only then did she realize she had lost more than just her way. She had stepped into a game written long before her arrival, a game with rules she could not understand. That feeling of entrapment clawed at her sanity. If Charlie was among them, could she save him? Or would she end up joining the game, playing forever in the dark? As their laughter grew, a storm building inside her, Amelia felt the creeping grasp of despair. And that wicked choice loomed larger than life: succumb to their endless thirst for play or plunge deeper into the dark to snatch her son from the jaws of oblivion. "Wait!" she yelled, the desperation in her voice morphing into a fierce resolve. Then the laughter died instantly. The shadows ceased their dance. They were fixed on her, eyes glinting like knives. For one suffocating moment, silence reigned, a stifling quiet like a pause before a storm. "Do you choose to play?" the girl with golden hair asked, her grin wide, predatory. Amelia hesitated, her breath caught in her throat. A crystal clarity came to her mind. Once she stepped further, she would cross beyond the horizon of hope, becoming one with the realm of shadows. Every second felt like a lifetime as she faced the terrifying unknown. What awaited her in the depths of darkness? And more chillingly, was there a way back? The laughter echoed once more, this time with a haunting melody that reverberated through her bones. A decision loomed, but the twisted shadows beckoned with promises too horrifying to recognize. What if she barely whispered, the question hanging heavy? What if this haunted place held secrets darker than her fears? What if Charlie was not just lost, but changed forever? And with that, the air crackled with an ominous energy, telling her she was closer to a revelation than ever before. The silence stretched as Amelia stood frozen before the children. Their smirking faces blurred together, forming a sinister tapestry woven from darkness and malice. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears, drowning out the playful chimes of their laughter. "Do you choose to play?" The golden-haired girl leaned closer, her breath icy against Amelia's skin. "What if I say no?" Amelia's voice quaked, the question slipping through her trembling lips. "Then you will be lost," the boy said, the shadow of a smile crossing his face. "You'll never find him." The weight of their words pressed on her chest, suffocating. She could feel the gravity of their game, pulling her closer to the brink of an abyss littered with shadows of her own making. "Charlie." The plea escaped her again, a raw, frantic wail. If only she could shatter this illusion, break their hold over her. The air shifted, the palpable tension growing thick and suffocating. The children began to edge closer, circling like wolves, hungry for prey. Amelia pressed her back against the rough bark of the oak, her only lifeline in this nightmare. She thought she had heard something behind her, a soft rustle, but her instinct screamed at her to keep her eyes on the faces before her. Forever they chanted, moving in perfect unison. Their voices weaved together like a sinister lullaby. "It will be forever if you join us." Before she could process their words, a shriek pierced the darkness, a voice she would recognize anywhere. "Mom!" It was Charlie. Adrenaline surged through Amelia's veins, igniting her with life. "Charlie!" she screamed, leaning forward, her heart pounding with hope. The children shrieked in delight, their laughter turning wild and chaotic. "See? He wants to play. He wants to stay." The words battered at her mind, frantic and free. The golden-haired girl's eyes shone with a dark excitement, twisting the thrill of anticipation into something grotesque. "Please! Where is he?" Amelia's voice cracked, desperation seeping in. Closer than ever, the boy whispered again, stepping forward, his shadow long and thin, stretching out like a beckoning claw. "Just take our hand and play." A whirlwind of panic gripped her. She glimpsed the way forward, a path fractured between the laughter and the shadows. Could she snatch Charlie from them before all was lost? "Stay where you are," she shouted, but there was no real authority in her tone, only fear and a quavering determination. She felt her resolve teetering. Were her fears and hopes about to collide? Another crash echoed through the park, a branch snapping somewhere in the oppressive darkness. It tore through the spellbinding laughter, shattering the moment. "Mom!" That single word, laced with fear and need, tore through her. Charlie was out there, lost and scared. Behind the glittering barricade of children was a darkness that thrummed with its own heartbeat. This was not just a game, it was a hunt. Clenching her fists, she took one decisive step away from the oak and back towards the shadows, the swirling darkness beckoning her closer. She could almost smell Charlie now, his presence like a fading perfume wafting in the breeze. "Wait! No!" the girl screamed, extending a bony hand toward her. Amelia turned back, adrenaline coursing hot. "I'm coming for you, Charlie." She felt courage bloom in her chest, wrestling with dread. She couldn't think straight, her heart bouncing in chaotic rhythms, caught between the pull of the shadows and the call of her son's voice. With every ounce of strength, she called out to the fading echo of childhood purity. She could not let these predatory children outwit her. She dashed towards the thick cover of trees, braving the gathering storm of laughter and disapproval behind her. The shadows fluttered, their discontent rising like smoke. Racing deeper into the darkness, She fought the rising panic inside her. She could feel every shadow stretching around her, their whispers mingling with Charlie's cries. But suddenly, the laughter crescendoed into a piercing shriek, as though they were merging into a single entity, hungry and relentless. Charlie. The name ripped from her throat as she plunged forward into the void. And then, a frigid hand clasped around her wrist, yanking her back. "You're ours now," it hissed, icy breath grazing against her skin. In the heart of the inky darkness, as terror clawed at her insides, Amelia faced the swirling shadows anew, her decision forged in desperation and fear. The choice had been made. She would play to save Charlie, or it would cost her everything. But as she stood there, rooted by dread, new shadows began to gather around Charlie's voice, a darker shade creeping over the landscape. "Will you still lose him even if you win?" A whisper teased in her ear, sending chills racing down her spine. And suddenly, a new question loomed. Would she be brave enough to find out what truly lay hidden in the depths of play? Abruptly, Amelia felt the cold grip around her wrist loosen slightly, as if the shadow that held her was suddenly uncertain. It was all the opening she needed. With a primal yell, she wrenched her arm free and stumbled forward into the dark. "Charlie!" she cried again, her voice cracking, each syllable a desperate prayer. The laughter of the children swelled behind her, a cacophony of delight mingled with malice, as if they found joy in her anguish. Moving through the dense darkness, it enveloped her like a thick fog, obscuring her vision and distorting her direction. The trees loomed ominously, their twisted branches like fingers reaching out, clawing at her as she passed. She could feel panic spiraling inside her, blooming with every heartbeat. Another piercing shriek echoed just ahead, not Charlie's, but the boy's, twisted and delighted. "You can't escape. You're trapped in our game." His voice slithered through the air, wrapping around her and pulling her deeper into despair. Amelia pressed on, ignoring the growing noise behind her. Ahead, she spotted a small clearing. The moonlight cut through the darkness, illuminating the area briefly before shadows rushed to reclaim it. "Charlie, please," she called out, heart racing like a speeding train. In the clearing, a silhouette darted through the trees, and her heart soared. Could that be him? But as she rushed toward the shape, it vanished, swallowed by the darkness as quickly as it had appeared. A cold bead of sweat trickled down her spine. Nothing felt safe. Not now, not anymore. Disoriented, she stumbled backward as the children's laughter rose around her, swirling in a maddening dance, entering her mind with chilling clarity. "You'll have to play. You can't leave us. Get away from me," she shouted, voice raw, yet she doubted her own words even as they left her lips. Fighting dread, she forced herself to consider the darkness, searching for any sign of Charlie within the chaos. Suddenly, the golden-haired girl materialized before her once again, stepping from the shadows. "Did you think you could come here without paying the price?" Her smile was a crescent moon in a pitch-black sky, ravenous and sharp. "Where is my son?" Amelia demanded, voice laced with fury and fear. "Oh, he is playing," the girl replied, tilting her head to the side, as if weighing Amelia's resolve. "But you'll need to choose soon. Will you join him in the game, or will you be lost like the others?" Terror surged through Amelia. Lost like the others? The thought froze her in place, visions swirling in her mind of parents searching for their missing children, of cold gray homes without laughter. Suddenly, another shrill scream sliced through the darkness, a sound that pierced Amelia's heart. It was unmistakably Charlie's voice, swelling in desperation. "Mom, help me!" Her breath hitched, and without thinking, she took off again, racing into the depths of the night. Each beat of her heart synchronized with the resonant thud of her footsteps, a mad symphony of haste and fear. But the shadows closed in around her, warping her senses. The trees seemed to shift positions, forming new paths, and trapping her in an endless maze. She stumbled again, hands grazing against rough bark as she struggled to maintain balance. "Charlie," she begged, desperation thickening the air around her. "I'm coming." Then, she heard it, a whisper, faint but unmistakable. "Help me, Mom." It drifted like a soft breeze, luring her deeper. Amelia followed the sound, each step heavy with dread. What if it was Charlie at all? What if it was another trick, another snare laid by those vile children? Doubt gnawed at her soul, but she pressed through, propelled by the bond only a mother could know. As she edged around a gnarled tree, she spotted a glimmer of movement up ahead. In the distance, a figure knelt, shrouded in shadow. "Charlie?" She breathed, hope fluttering to life against the chilling backdrop of her surroundings. But as she drew closer, the figure turned. It wasn't Charlie. Amelia gasped, her heart plummeting as the new shadow emerged from the gloom. "You want to take him from us?" It hissed, voice echoing with the authority of many. Startled, she stumbled back, every instinct screaming at her to flee, to run from the approaching thing. It was monstrous in its fluidity, amorphous and dark, twisting from face to face of all the children, the laughter echoing louder than ever before. "Join us," they sang, a dissonant choir urging her to surrender. How could she fight against so many? The world around her spun, the edges fraying as she lost sight of reality. "No! Let him go!" she cried, stepping back into the shadows, where her only weapon was the raw will to save her son. "Will you really sacrifice everything to win a game against us?" The chorus called, voices blending into a haunting melody. And then, it hit her she had to outwit them. There might be a way, but it would mean risking everything she had left. What choice would she make in this deadly game? Would she betray her son for freedom? And what if freedom wasn't what it seemed? Charlie. The name escaped her lips, filled with fierce determination. But could she truly defeat the shadow reigning over them? Or was she already ensnared in its malicious grip? She felt the web closing in. As the figure advanced, the forest darkened, and the laughter swelled into a storm of madness. Ultimately, a fateful moment awaited. Could she truly reclaim her son from the clutches of eternal play? Would she dare to face the darkness, knowing it might consume her? The choice was about to present itself, and with it, the ultimate revelation of what it meant to play the game. Amelia felt her heart race as the shadows closed in, a dark blanket of terror smothering her every instinct. She looked for an escape, but the air felt thick and suffocating, as if the forests were alive, breathing around her. Every leaf rustled with a sinister whisper, mocking her desperation. "Let him go!" She screamed again, voice trembling as the figures danced closer, their icy laughter cutting through the suffocating darkness. They were no longer just kids. They were devouring shadows, twisted remnants of innocent faces contorted into grotesque grins. As the laughter climbed to a fever pitch, Amelia felt an urge to cry, to succumb to the overwhelming hopelessness. But then, beneath the chaos, she heard it again, Charlie's voice calling her. Something in that desperate cry ignited a flicker of defiance within her. Amelia clenched her fists, ready to fight even if it was against the phantoms of her own nightmares. "Don't fight us," one of the children shouted, its voice oily and thick. "You'll never escape. It will only hurt more." Terror clawed at her throat, but she took a step forward instead of back, driven by a force she couldn't comprehend. "I will find my son." With every step, the growing shadows shifted, and the trees whispered secrets, the weight of centuries pressing down on her shoulders. Amelia pushed through. She needed a plan. She thought frantically about the rules of the game. There had to be weaknesses, some way to turn the tide. "Join us," they sang, stretching their arms wider, their figures twirling in a menacing dance. The sight writhed around her like a sea of nightmares, and for a moment, She wondered if she had the strength to resist. "What if I join you?" Amelia blurted out, voice shaky but firm. "What would that mean? What do you want?" The laughter stopped, and in its place settled a taut silence. The twisted faces stared at her, cocking their heads as if weighing her words. "A wise choice," the golden-haired girl said, stepping forward. "But you will pay dearly. Just tell me where my son is." Amelia pressed, feeling the surfacing anger bellow within her, stronger than anything else. "First, come play," they urged, their voices now smooth, almost tempting. The shadows twisted, reshaping, dropping the menacing air for a fleeting moment, a mask of false promise. "Get lost amongst us, and feel what it's like to play forever." "No!" she shouted, filled with a primal rage, forcing herself to remember who she was. "I am not afraid of you." The moment hung like a fragile thread, and for a heartbeat, a flicker of understanding crossed their faces. She was not their toy, their game. She was a mother, unyielding. Suddenly, a rush of wind swept through the trees, a sudden roar, and the darkness seemed to pull back just slightly, revealing a narrow path behind them. It looked like a doorway carved from shadow, glimmering dimly. "Charlie!" she screamed, sprinting forward without a second thought. The children's laughter erupted behind her, harsh and distorted. "You can't leave. You're playing with us now." Their voices were a blend of anger and amusement, echoing around her as she raced ahead. But what was this path? Hope twisted with dread in her stomach. Had she unwittingly stumbled upon their trap? Could fleeing lead her to her son, or deeper into the shadow's domain? As she bolted through the held breath of the trees, something shifted in the darkness behind her. She felt eyes watching, waiting. She burst through a thicket, emerging on the other side of the clearing. The moon shone down, casting her in a silver glow. "Charlie!" she gasped, scanning her surroundings. Where was he? An eerie silence now replaced the laughter, filling the air with anticipation. In the moonlight, a figure stood in the distance. "Charlie?" Amelia whispered. Panic surged anew. It felt heavy in her chest, ready to explode. It moved closer, but was hidden in shadow, slipping between the beams of moonlight. "Mom," a voice, soft and trembling. Not the boisterous shouts of play she had yearned for. It was weak, frail. "Charlie, is that you?" The figure stepped forward, and Amelia felt her breath hitch in her throat. "What has become of him?" A deep whisper beckoned from behind her, icy fingers darting into her thoughts. As dread coursed through her veins, Amelia knew she was closer to the truth. But was she ready for what it meant? In that moment, the shadows began to ripple, merging into a swirling mass that reached for her once more. "Join the game or lose everything," the children chanted, voices echoing ominously. Could she truly save him? And at what cost? With the darkness beckoning, Amelia faced the ultimate choice. Would she brave the dance of shadows for her son's life? Or would she risk it all, plunging headfirst into their abyss, where nothing remained but despair? Just then, the figure stepped into the light, revealing itself fully. Amelia's heart sank as horror cascaded over her. "Mom," Charlie whispered again, realization strumming the cold strings of her heart. But it was not just the voice she had missed. It was the lifelessness in those eyes that twisted a knife deeper. She was running out of time and choices. The shadows were circling, and the game kept escalating. What had the children done to him? As darkness enveloped her once more, Amelia's resolve fortified. She wouldn't let the shadows win. The path ahead was uncertain, but as long as she drew breath, she would fight for Charlie, no matter the cost. Unfortunately, the whispers behind her only grew louder, as the shadow of choice threatened to swallow her whole. But what if that choice, like everything else in this odyssey, held a danger far worse than she ever imagined? Amelia's heart raced as she struggled to breathe under the weight of despair. The figure before her stirred with a chilling familiarity, yet Charlie, her beloved son, seemed lost within a twisted version of himself. Shadows danced erratically around them, eager to envelop her once more. "Mom," he whispered, and the police sent shards of ice through her. "Charlie, what happened to you?" she gasped, taking tentative steps closer, searching his face for any sign of the boy she knew. The shadows writhed behind him, creeping closer, feasting on her fear. "Mom, they want to let me go." They want you to," he stammered, his voice trembling, as if he was just a breath away from drowning in the darkness. Tears blurred her vision, but a fierce determination surged through her. "I'm here, Charlie. I want to leave you." As she stepped forward, the air grew heavier, thickening with despair. The shadows breached the edges of the moonlight, flickering as if they were alive, taunting her loyalty. "We play till dawn," they chanted, the children's voices intermingling in a haunting chorus that sent shivers down her spine. Amelia, a sultry voice drifted behind her, cold and seductive. It was the golden-haired girl, now gliding effortlessly from the shadows. "You've made quite a choice by coming here. But choices come with consequences. What do you want from us?" Amelia shouted, anger and fear intertwining. She wouldn't let them take Charlie without a fight. "Is this your game? To toy with us like puppets?" A sinister smile curled across the girl's lips, revealing missing teeth like jagged puzzles. "You're right where we want you." "Isn't that beautiful?" Charlie's form flickered, as if he might dissolve into the mist. "Mom, I'm scared." "Stay close, Charlie. I want to let them take you." Her voice cracked, but she pushed through the creeping dread, focusing on her son. She needed a plan mustered from every tale of survival she had ever heard. "Charlie," she began slowly, attempting to rouse his spirit despite the dark magic pulling him down. "Can you hear me? We need to fight them together. Close your eyes, think of something strong. Think of us." For a brief moment, a spark ignited in his eyes, a glimpse of the boy she recognized. "Home," he murmured, a fragment of hope threading through the dark. But the golden-haired girl interrupted, her laughter echoing like a haunting melody. "Home is just a shadow now, Amelia. You'd be wise to join us. The game is so much more fun with both of you." Suddenly, the ground trembled and the shadows lashed out, grasping at Amelia's legs. She fought against them, heart racing with the feeling of the pull towards the darkness. "No!" she screamed, planting her feet firmly against the weight of despair. "Get away from us." She felt the tendrils of darkness begin to tighten around her, dragging her closer to the ground. In that moment, everything shifted. "Mom, hold on!" Charlie cried, and as she looked back at him, she saw the fear turn fierce determination ignite in his gaze. A surge of energy erupted between them, the powerful bond of love igniting like a flame against the darkness. Amelia felt a heat rising in her chest, the fierce protection of her son sharpening her senses. "Together," she shouted, "we fight." A pulsating light erupted from them, pushing the shadows back momentarily, revealing a glimmer of clarity, the figures of the children recoiling in fear, their ghastly faces twisting into confusion. "Enough!" the golden-haired girl screeched, her voice slicing through the air, thick with malice. "You think love can save you in our realm? You are mistaken. But the bonds of love are powerful. They blurred the edges of the stifling shadows." "Charlie!" Amelia shouted, her voice a rallying cry, a promise echoing against the gloom. "No matter what they have done to you, I will not lose you. We will break their hold." With that declaration, she felt a surge of power, an unyielding force unlike anything she had ever known. The shadows shrieked, rising like a hurricane, swirling viciously. "You can fight it," she urged, holding her ground, desperate for Charlie's hands to clasp hers. But in that tempest of chaos and noise, questions loomed ominously. Would the light they discovered be enough? Or would the shadows consume them both, marking them forever as their own? Just as the shadowy whirlwind swirled faster, a shrieking laugh echoed above them, a reminder that the game was far from over. Would love be enough to conquer the dark? And could they truly escape the fate laid for them by the sinister children? As Amelia braced for the next strike, she felt a bond anchoring her, a flicker of hope amid the chaos. But the shadows, hungry for despair, were waiting, eager to draw their next move. A sudden crack of thunder resonated above them, shaking the very ground. The shadows seemed to swell with the sound, contagious, chaotic, wrapping tighter around Amelia, pulling her from the frail light of their moment of connection. Charlie's scream pierced through the tumult, and she felt her heart splinter. "Mom! Help!" His voice echoed, trembling with desperation. Each cry was a thread unraveling, spiraling deeper into the blackness. "No! I'm coming!" she shouted back, though her own voice felt distant, almost ghostly. The shadows twisted and contorted, and with each inch they advanced, panic clawed at her throat. She could taste the cold dread, a bitter reminder that she was losing him. "Enough games," the golden-haired girl sneered, stepping closer, her smile distorted by shadows that rippled across her face. What a little fear without a bit of pain? Amelia's resolve hardened, the weight of a mother's love wrapping around her like a shield. "You think you can scare me? Charlie is my light. I will fight you." A pulse of light ignited around them again, the bond between her and Charlie a flickering truth against the looming darkness. But as the light pushed back the shadows, fear seeped into her bones. Could they sustain this energy against such overwhelming despair? And then, the shadows rose with a ferocity that took her breath away. The ghostly whispers wound through the air, a cacophony of tormented souls, entreating her to join their ranks. And among their chilling tones, she thought she heard Charlie's laughter, warped and distorted. "Charlie, fight it," she urged, but doubt crept in. Was he still in there, or was he forever lost to the shadows? With trembling hands, she reached out, blind desperation fueling her resolve. "Charlie, I love you," she yelled, pouring every ounce of emotion into her words. "Remember our home, your friends, your favorite movie. You're brave. You're my son." As if summoned by her call, a rush of warmth flowed between them, a fragile bubble in the storm. Charlie struggled against the onslaught. His expression shifted, fear giving way to recognition, to resolve. "Mom." His voice was clearer this time, slicing through the dark like a knife. "I can't let you go. We can do this together." But the girl's laughter echoed in the chaos. "You think you can win? There's a reason we play till dawn." The shadows crumbled away just enough for Amelia to catch a glimpse of the cottage, their cottage tucked behind the tormented trees, bathed in soft moonlight. No more shadows, just warmth. The night they spent building a fort out of blankets, the smell of fresh cookies, the sound of his laughter. "Together," she shouted again, tightening her grip. In that moment of clarity, a powerful shockwave pulsed through them, sending a surge of light billowing outward. Charlie's face lit up, truly lit up. The love between them radiated like a supernova, pushing the shadows back more than ever before. But the golden-haired girl shrieked, her features twisting in rage. "You think you can escape?" she hissed, stalking closer as the light flickered, threatening to extinguish. Amelia felt a wave of doubt crash over her. The shadows, now writhing like serpents, beckoned once more. But the light held, stronger than any darkness, defying the pull in a desperate stand. "Look, Charlie! Look!" she cried, pointing at the cottage as she struggled against the noise enveloping them. "That's our home. We can reach it." And as they pushed through the darkness together, 1,000 hands reached out from the depths, trying to drag them back. With every ounce of strength they summoned, the shadows howled in fury, ripping through the air like a thunderclap, each agonizing moment twisting the fabric of their reality. They were so close, but as they surged forward, the ground beneath them shattered, splitting apart like a yawning chasm, threatening to pull them into a void of endless night. "Mom!" The terror in Charlie's voice sent a jolt through her heart. Would they reach the light? Or would the shadows obliterate their hope, plunging them into darkness forever? Amelia took a deep breath, readying to leap, as the gaping maw of despair loomed before them. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a battle for their very souls. One wrong move could seal their fate. And in that moment, she realized they weren't just battling the shadows. They were battling time, destiny, and the darkness lurking in the hearts of men. As they leaped towards the light, the shadows shrieked, and the world shifted violently. Would they find sanctuary, or had they merely traded one nightmare for another? As they leaped into the light, a surge of hope clashed violently with the shadows, creating a blinding flash that engulfed them in an otherworldly glow. Amelia squeezed Charlie's hand tighter, anchoring herself to the warmth of his presence, as the world around them spun out of control. The cacophony of despair roared, shrieks and moans intertwining, desperate to reclaim what they had lost. But Amelia refused to let go. The white brightness washed over them, distorting their surroundings. For a heartbeat, they felt weightless, like leaves caught in an autumn wind. But just as quickly, the powerful light dimmed, revealing an eerily familiar hallway lined with flickering fluorescent lights. The walls were peeling, the air thick with decay. It was the inside of the cottage, yet wrong. What happened? Charlie breathed, staring wide-eyed at their new surroundings. "Mom, it's different. Stay close," Amelia commanded, her heart racing. The disorientation clawed at her. Everything felt wrong. The laughter that once danced in this home was replaced by a heavy silence, nearly suffocating. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, swirling like smoke. Each step they took echoed, a hollow reminder of their own fear. "We have to keep moving," she urged, dragging her son down the hall. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from behind them. Amelia whirled, her breath catching in her throat, as she saw a door slam shut at the end of the hall. A chill crawled down her spine. "Did you see that?" Charlie nodded, his eyes wide, reflecting panic. "Mom, we need to find a way out." They rushed forward, but as they reached the door, it swung open, revealing a dark room within. A shadowy figure loomed there, indistinct but haunting, with eyes that seemed to glint maliciously in the darkness. "No!" Amelia's voice quivered. "Stay back. Who enters my domain?" The figure rasped, its voice serpentine and dripping with malice. "We were just trying to find our way home," Charlie stammered, pulling closer to his mother. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a twisted visage, half hidden beneath matted hair. "Home? Do you even remember what home is?" Amelia felt her skin crawl, memories starting to fracture in her mind, twisting into grotesque shapes. "No, please. We have to go." The figure laughed, a sound like cracking glass. "You can't escape what you truly are. You're bound to the darkness as much as the light. Whether you face it here or in the other realm, you cannot hide." Charlie's eyes widened, and Amelia felt the ground shift beneath her once more, the air thickening with dread. "Mom, it's telling the truth." "I feel something." A deep rumble echoed through the room, vibrating in their bones. The shadows danced closer, reaching for them like icy tendrils, whispering secrets of their past. Amelia fought back, shaking her head, trying to dispel the haze. "Charlie, stay with me. Focus on our home," she shouted, forcing herself to remember the laughter, the warmth, the safety they once found within those walls. But the shadows tightened, whispering ancient fears that threatened to consume her. "You can't save him. You're not strong enough." "No!" She screamed defiantly, defiance igniting a flicker of light within her. Suddenly, the floor quaked, splintering beneath their feet as if the house itself was alive, betraying them. They were standing on the precipice of something vast and dark, and a pressure pushed against her chest, making it hard to breathe. "Mom! The shadows!" Charlie cried, pointing. The figure was advancing, its mouth stretching into a grin that showed too many teeth. "You belong here, together forever." In that moment, Amelia felt a choice blooming within her, a path carved from instinct, love, and desperation. Would she face the truth of the figure's words, or break free, dragging Charlie with her from this nightmare? Clenching her fists, she glanced back at her son, his eyes filled with fear and determination. "We're leaving," she shouted, and with that, she took a step back, ready to leap into the unknown. But the ground beneath them roared, and a mighty blast of shadows surged forward. They would either emerge into the light or plunge deeper into the darkness, forever haunted by the sins of their choices. With a final push, she took Charlie's hand and prepared for whatever came next. The air trembled with unspoken promises of horror and safety. What awaited them on the other side? The shadows constricted around them like a vice as they fell forward. As Amelia and Charlie plunged into the abyss, panic erupted within her, a fiery wave crashing against the pull of darkness. Yet in this swirling void, the bond they shared flickered like a lighthouse, guiding them through. "Hold on, Charlie," she cried, gripping his hand tighter. The world around them twisted, echoes of laughter mixed with wails clawing at her sanity. Shadows flickered and writhed, but in the chaos, she felt Charlie's warmth beside her, anchoring her in this nightmare. Suddenly, with a jarring pop, they emerged into a dull light, landing on solid ground. Dazed, Amelia blinked multiple times, familiar shapes defining themselves in her vision, a cluttered living room filled with toys sprawled across the floor. It was their cottage, yet it felt hollow, imbued with an unnatural silence that draped heavily, cloaking the memories in a dank cloak of fear. "Mom?" Charlie's timid voice broke through the stillness, echoing the uncertainty that roiled in the pit of her stomach. He stepped closer, and for a moment, their home looked just how they left it, a place of warmth, laughter, and love. It was real. "Charlie." She rushed toward him, but a shadow flickered across the walls, and the air thickened like syrup. The shadow twisted, darkening the memories that once brought solace. The voice of the golden-haired girl echoed near, a reminder of their ordeal. "You cannot escape the past, Amelia." The room felt alive with dread, the very walls whispering secrets she was not ready to confront. "Stay away. We escaped you." Amelia screamed, but her voice quivered, fear creeping through her veins again. "Did you really?" The voice taunted, echoing all around her. "What will you do with the memories? You are forever marked by shadows." "Charlie." She turned, determination solidifying her resolve. "Are you all right?" "I think so," he stuttered, his eyes wide, almost searching, and it pierced her heart. But they were right. "I feel them in my head." "No, don't listen." Amelia's voice grew frantic as the air rippled. But it was too late. The memories rushed back, flooding their minds. Vivid images of laughter morphed into memories of pain, the moments lost in the haze of shadows, twisted by fear and sorrow. She saw glimpses of the park, Charlie's friends filled with joy, now distorted by the horror of the game they had escaped, turning bright laughter into chilling reminders of the shadow's cruelty. "Stay with me, Charlie," she cried again, lunging toward him, as the dark memories whispered promises of despair, twisting their perceptions. "We can choose to fight this together." Charlie stepped back, caught between the love for his mother and the tainted echoes of the past. What if they're right? What if I can never be the same? Remember home. Amelia's chest tightened. Let us not become who they want us to be. The room filled with a whirlwind of shadows, swirling at their feet like a tempest, and they made a choice fueled by love and determination to take control of their destiny. Together, they marched toward the door, their strength allowing them to forge through the oppressive darkness. As they reached the exit, the shadows screeched and lashed out, trying to pull them back into the void, into despair's embrace. "You will never leave," they howled, their cries like a siren echoing through the air. But Amelia held tight to Charlie's hand, locking their determination into the fabric of the very air they breathed. "We've beaten you. You don't own us anymore," she shouted defiantly, stepping into the warmth of the sunlight filtering through the doorway that had just appeared. With each step, the shadows writhed, thrashing blindly in a retaliation of fury. But the light surged, illuminating the space with hope. They dashed through the threshold, pushing forward with all the fervor that lay within them. Then the darkness erupted, shadows pulling back as the light they conjured clashed against the despair. And in that heartbeat, they felt their shared laughter echo, piercing through the shackles of silence once more, inciting a collective cheer of celebration. For survival. "I love you, Mom," Charlie beamed as they broke free, crossing into the light of the new dawn. "I love you too, Charlie. Always," Amelia sobbed, tears of joy spilling down her face. They stepped onto grass, the warmth of sunlight kissing their skin. Their home stood solidly behind them, renewed, filled with color and laughter. They had escaped the grip of the shadows. Together they were whole again, shining with the essence of radiant love. The whispers faded, and in their wake, a bright future awaited, born from the choice to not give in not to the shadows, nor to fear. With arms wrapped around each other, they breathed in the sense of freedom. They embraced hope, a flickering flame lighting the path ahead, proving that together, they could conquer anything that lurked in the shadows. It truly was the dawn of a new beginning, a promise of laughter, of love, and a bond that would never break. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to our channel, so you don't miss any future exclusive stories that dive deep into the unknown. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm, and let us know you want more heart-pounding tales. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this ending. We want to know how you felt. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. Stand with us as true fans and help spread the love.